Welcome to our first episode.
I'm Gaia.
And I'm Angelica. We're speaking to Levi from PerfectTed, who founded a multi-million-pound business with his wife and younger brother. We're going to find out how he did it, having gone on Dragon's Den and secured funding from Steven Bartlett.
Let's chat and find out how they built it. Okay, so icebreakers.
Okay. Go for it.
No pressure. First question.
Yeah.
Speak or listen?
My wife would say I should listen more, but I think I speak too much. I'm going to go with I prefer to speak.
Speak,
But I
okay.
need to get better at listening.
Nature or nurture?
Nature.
Fast or slow?
Fast.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Fate or free will?
Free will.
Why?
Because I feel like as I've got older, I'm not old, but as I've got older, I feel like I can control my outcomes more. I feel like people hide behind fate as an excuse for things that happen to them.
Spontaneity or routine?
Routine, because it keeps me accountable, but you've got to keep spontaneity in your life. And that's one of my 2025 goals, is to be more spontaneous.
Oh, okay. So relevant. Great.
Yeah.
Logic or intuition?
Intuition.
Teams or Slack?
I despise Slack.
Yeah,
Teams.
It's like,
Teams,
people have very
100%.
strong opinions on that
Hate
one.
Slack.
Control or surrender?
Control freak.
Question or answer?
Answer.
Stop or start?
Start.
Give or take?
Give.
Think or do?
Do.
Spectator or participant?
Participant.
Why?
I like to win.
Macro or micro?
Micro.
Why?
Oh, it's a hard one. That's the hardest one you've asked.
Yeah.
Micro because I like getting into the details, but macro
Yeah.
because I like to think big. But I had to pick one. Micro.
Okay. Ebb or flow?
Flow.
Okay. Amazing.
That's it.
We're done.
There's a proper random.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Okay.
So I'm going to have an opening question and a closing question.
Yeah.
What is on your mind today?
I miss my wife. Yeah, it's quite sad. It's quite soppy. I
When
hope
you're
she's
not seeing
listening.
her?
A couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope she's listening.
Do you have a plan for when she gets back?
When she gets back, she's recovering from surgery.
Okay.
So I think we're going to take it easy.
Yep.
But we're big into planning this year. That's our big thing.
Okay.
So we're going to book a trip to Paris. And that's going to
So
give us
romantic.
some motivation.
Will
Yeah.
that be over Valentine's Day or?
Depends, see the prices, but possibly.
Okay, so you haven't planned it.
Haven't planned it. I bought her for Christmas a Eurostar voucher.
So how does that dynamic work as a business? Because it's actually quite rare to have a family-run business nowadays, especially in this new format that is social media
Yeah.
and these new products that have come about and matches to do with health. It's a whole new sphere.
Yeah.
How have you made that work?
It's complicated. I think I have the hardest job of the three of us because I'm in the middle of like a brother and a wife. So
Mediator.
I mediator, or I'm just like the collateral. What I always find is that if I have to take a side in most arguments because they're both very strong-headed and strong-willed, and I'm either getting like losing my gym partner in the morning because I disagree with Teddy, or like not being kicked out of my bed but being kicked in the night by my wife. So it's an impossible job, but we make it work. And I think actually the upside of a family business far outweigh the downside. I mean, a business is all about trust, and co-founders, you have to have inherent trust in them. And
do you think a part of it
family.
is inspiration as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think so we lived together for the first 3 years of the business as well, which
All
meant
three of you?
all 3 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not in the same room, but close proximity, which is kind of how the business formed, because we were in the kitchen and we were just kind of thinking through ideas and working on the business.
Right.
And then our bedroom, or our lounge rather, kind of became the boardroom in many senses. So we'd come home from the office once we got an office, and that's when all like the big decisions would
And
get
was
made.
this in London?
In London, yeah.
Okay.
I met Marissa at university in the States, and Teddy was also in the States at university. So we all kind of grew together there. And then Marissa moved back to London, as did we during COVID. And you just couldn't get good matcha. And that's why we're here. That's part of the mission, is to basically make matcha more accessible.
Yeah.
So your local cafe, it's obviously harder to penetrate local chains than it is to get in with larger chains kind of at scale, because you got to sell to a lot more people. So we work with some really large chains, which is trying to make matcha more accessible.
Which chains?
So like Black Sheep,
Yeah.
Blank Street. We're about to launch with, I think they're the UK's largest coffee chain. Can't say them yet because
That's exciting.
they launched in a month.
Yeah.
We work like Tesco, Waitrose, M&S cafes. We launched with, who else we work with? Joe and the Juice, loads of people. So
Who's been your favorite to work with?
Joe and the Juice are very fun to work with.
Why is that?
They're just very creative.
Yeah.
And we have a global partnership with them. So it strokes my ego when I can go to like Dubai or New York or LA and
Strut
get the
right
same
in.
matcha. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a big ego trip.
What would you say is your greatest milestone so far with PerfectTed?
Greatest milestone so far.
Yep.
We're quite open about our revenue numbers. So there are revenue milestones, but I think big milestones for us, actually it was probably this week, and it's kind of like not a concrete milestone, but for the first time, I think in the business, I looked around the room and there's like 20, 25 of us now. And I
That's
actually
exciting.
saw structure,
Yeah.
because I felt for so long our business was just like run at a wall, try and break it, and then see what the outcome is, try and solve a problem. But actually for the first time, we really have structure. So we have departments, which to me is wild. That is a milestone to have
What are your
departments.
departments?
Marketing, finance,
Yeah.
ops, sales. Those are kind of the four. But to me, it feels very obvious. If you're starting a business, you're like, oh yeah, these are the four departments. And maybe there's HR as well, which I run. So it's not really a department. But to actually look at the business and feel like the structure, and there's people that work solely in one department, as a business owner, that's kind of wild, because it means you actually have something and you have a structure.
And so what's the growth been like? How has it developed into this structure?
It's a good question. Well, it was just the three of us at the beginning, and we were doing everything. And the way I was working in VC at the time, and they were full-time on the business. So I kind of did all the scrappy jobs, the ones that they didn't want to do day to day, which was like HR, finance, compliance, business ops. And then the two of them, Marissa and Teddy, kind of fell naturally into what they were best suited for. So Marissa is extremely creative. She comes from private equity, which doesn't usually lend itself to creativity, but she's a genius. So she taught herself Adobe Suite. She's like a leader in AI in our business. And she basically teaches herself everything. And she became graphic designer, head of marketing, head of brand. So everything you see, everything you feel about the brand is Marissa.
Does she design the packaging?
Designs everything. We have a graphic design team now who she works with in-house, but she designed everything from the beginning.
How did you get to this?
So how do we get to that?
And also quite lucky for Teddy, you were just like going to include his name.
So I think, yes, it is
Not
lucky.
perfect Levi.
No,
Lovely Levi.
Lovely Levi.
That
So
could be
Levi's
nice.
obviously taken by the denim brand, which was kind of
Yeah.
the excuse for me. And Marissa, we always tell her it's not the most remarkable name. I think it's fine. It's an okay,
Yeah, I think it could work.
it's an okay name.
It could work.
I think she accepts that as an
Matcha
okay.
Marissa. Double M.
Matcha Marissa. But that
Yeah.
would have just cornered us to Matcha. What if we have bigger
True.
plans for like
You want to expand?
coffee? No, I'm joking, not coffee. But
Not tea?
Not tea. Yeah, we all matches tea.
Shit.
Everyone knows a Ted, whether it's like your milkman. I'm not sure people have milkmen anymore, but like whether it's like a dog or an uncle, everyone knows a Ted. Or like the butcher is probably called Ted. So we were
True.
like, there's a Ted.
It's got quite a nice ring to it as well because it's not like a John.
No.
John is a bit like a John Doe. Everyone
Yeah.
knows a John Doe or a Jane.
Yeah.
But
Ted
it's
is
like Ted.
it's gender neutral. It felt
Yeah.
right. It's easy to say. Everyone knows one.
Rolls off well.
Rolls off well. PerfectTed was, we loved brand names that had human names in them. So like Tony's Chocolate Only as an example, and Nutty Bruce as an example. And we liked to have a name in it. And then why perfect? Because we had this concept of, when words end in ed, so it could have been like rejected or augmented, whatever. But we always say the word perfect. So if you're saying to me like, I see you at 4:00, I say perfect. And we just kept saying it, three of us, I don't know why. And at some point we were like, we need a name.
We just need to include
I'm not sure I can
this.
swear on this. We need a name. And honestly, at the time we were working with a branding agency, because as much as Marissa has learned everything at the very, very beginning, she couldn't do it. So we had a branding agency that was just doing all the packaging for us. We didn't end up working with them very long because Marissa taught herself. But they did, the one thing they did help us with was the logo. But they were like, we need a name. So we were sitting on a beach, to be honest. And we were just like, let's just give them a fucking name. And we just gave them PerfectTed and we just moved on with it. And the one lesson I would give to entrepreneurs is don't fixate on the name. Fixate on the business and growing, and don't worry about the name. You'll grow into the name. Like if you look at brand names,
Product first, name later. Branding
product first,
later.
well, not branding, but name later. I mean, name can be largely irrelevant. If you think about brands like Lululemon, for example, what does that even mean? Nike, is it Nike, or would most people, if it wasn't a massive brand,
Nike.
call it Nike or Nike? Adidas. There are so many names out there that are confusing that aren't conventional English words, like PerfectTed with two T's.
So do you think it's more the feeling that you
It's the
get
feeling,
from...
100%. It's the brand around it. It's the energy you convey, not
What's your energy?
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Positivity in a can?
Positivity in a can, positivity in a mug, in a shaker. The aim of the business is to spread positive energy. So we have to kind of live that, I would say.
Do you have strategies for that? Or how are you pushing that positivity forward?
I think it's a big piece of our hiring. So when we look at people, I think they have to have positivity running through them, among other values. But yeah, I think it also comes from the three of us. So building a business is really hard, obviously. It can get glorified on LinkedIn, probably by us in some way. But we try and keep it real. And you know, the three of us have to be really positive despite the shit show that can be running a business. So I think that then flows through to the rest of the business.
Do you think there are days when you're more positive and Marissa's less positive and you lift each other up with that?
1000%. That's why I think solo founder businesses
so tough.
So tough. I respect them, the solo founders, but my big advice to people would be find a co-founder that you trust and that complements you in skills and personality and everything.
Are you older or younger?
I'm 2 years older. So I'm the dad, the team.
The dad.
I think. Although we have hired people older than me, so I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
I'm not the oldest
Raise
in the
the
team.
average.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the average I think is like 24 now in the company.
The average is 24.
It's 24.
That's awesome.
It's like 80% women. So the old men are the minority, which is me. We had less to lose, and we were also kind of naive. I think naivety is such a brilliant characteristic for founders, because if we would have gone down the conventional route of food and beverage, which is start a business in a farmer's market and, you know, product test it for a year and a half and then find like your local farm shop and then try and push the product through there, I don't think we'd be where we were today. Our first listing was Holland & Barrett. Love Holland & Barrett. They're an amazing partner. We have about 20 listings with them, different kind of products with them. When they approached us because they saw us on social media when we first launched, every single person who we respected in food and beverage told us not to list with Holland & Barrett.
Why?
They said they'll swallow you alive because they'll negotiate you down to a point where you have no margin, you can't survive because of all the leverage, and you won't be able to fill the orders quick enough or at that scale, and you don't have product market fit, which I think is like a classic founder or VC term, product market fit. We don't have product market fit, so if it fails on the shelf, then you'll never get into another retailer because essentially you'll be tarnishing your reputation within retail.
So why do you think it worked?
I think it worked because in our gut, we knew the product was good enough and that it was a product that people needed and wanted, despite the fact we didn't have time to product test it because we were just running super quickly. And again, being young and naive with nothing to lose, you know, we had
ran with it.
We had no interest in building like a slow moving business. But I mean, for some people, it's great. Some people want to build a lifestyle business that they can grow over the next 10, 15, 20 years into something. For us, it was like, let's just build really quickly. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
What are the plans for this year with the business?
With the business, we're going to grow the team to 30. We are going to move into a new office.
Do you have specific roles that you're wanting to be filled?
Sales.
Yeah.
Love salespeople. Not just like door-to-door salespeople, but people who are managing accounts. So we're with most of the major retailers in the UK, for example, and internationally as well. People need to service those accounts and work really closely with their respective account managers, and the buyers, for example. Right now, it's quite a small sales team given the size of the business.
You were doing sales before.
So going back to kind of splitting the responsibilities, Marissa was doing all things brand, Teddy was doing all things sales and supply chain ops. And so Teddy kind of ran sales, and now he still is very involved in sales, mostly international. But we're building out a really, really strong sales team. We have an amazing team. So not double the team, but grow it to like 30. We're about 23 now, I think. I want to triple the revenue.
Triple the revenue.
Yeah.
Big goals.
Big goals. I want to do 30 million this year.
Achievable. 30 mil.
Yeah. I'm not sure I've said that anywhere, but now it's out in the public. But we're triple the business. We're moving into a new office.
Are you just UK based?
No, we're in 45 countries, 50 countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're launching, I want to launch into the US lightly. So I've got loads of views on US.
Why did you start in the UK first?
Less competitive.
Yeah.
No reason really, because we woke up one day and we were in the UK and we started a business. I think the UK is a really hard place to start a business. It's tough, but I think for food and beverage, and particularly for drinks and for matcha, it was much less saturated. So we kind of got lucky in that sense. Starting in a business in the US, yes, you can scale quickly, and yes, it's a much bigger market of 350, I think, plus million people.
Yeah.
But it's just brutal. Like if we wanted, I don't think, I say it here, I don't think we'll ever launch our energy drinks into the US because it's too competitive.
What would you say in the early days were the key moves you did that got you to where you are?
I think the retail one was basically taking a risk and going big initially was one. I think having multiple engines in our business, so not just having the energy drinks, but also doing wholesale matcha, so into some of the cafes I mentioned, but also having retail matcha products that like powders, pods, flavored pouches. That wasn't the earliest part of the business, but having multiple engines, we always talk about the different engines of our business to protect us. Because if the drinks did fail, or if the drinks margin did come down because a retailer needed to renegotiate, we always had cash margin from another part of the business. So anyone who's been in drinks knows it's a really difficult business. Like energy drinks, canned drinks, really tough. So having the matcha side of the business, the wholesale side of the business, and kind of different engines has really helped us.
Why is it so tough?
Because cans are expensive. They get damaged. They're expensive to ship. So doing international for cans, for example,
So
is
logistically
they're tough.
Yeah.
Things can go wrong, and it's very competitive. The barrier to entry for a drinks company is very low. If you have £10,000, you can launch a drinks company. You go to a canning facility or a recipe developer, and you've got a drink. So the barrier to entry for drinks is very low. The economics aren't great on drinks unless you scale. So it's a difficult business. So having multiple engines was a big move early that helped us. Again, did we plan it? Partially. Was it luck? Mostly. But it worked. And then also hiring the right people. I think we thought when we were growing the business, we'd never like get rid of people. We'd never have people leave. But actually the natural evolution of a business is people come and go, right? But hiring...
As the business changed and develops
and 100%.
grows.
The person that's taking you from 0 to 5 is not the person taking you from 5 to 10, for example.
Right.
So we're constantly not chopping and changing. It's a bad way of putting it, but like growing and evolving the team. But our initial hires were so important. So we hired the most amazing head of sales, which was our first hire, a girl called Shani. She's a killer. Shout out Shani. She's a killer. Having hires like that at the beginning to help take the vision or take the values of what the founders have built to date forward, so key.
What were the qualities you were looking for?
The same qualities I think that we live by today.
Right.
So things like consistency. So consistency, intensity. Intensity. Like it's a very intense workplace, very intense business. We're trying to build something massive very quickly. It requires intensity. It requires a lot of hard work. So when people come in for a job interview, I'm extremely clear with them. I'm like, by the way, the work here is really, really hard. The hours can be really bad. Like I left the office last night at 8:30, 9 maybe, and Shani was still there, machine, because she had to get something done. And it's just the way it is. If you want to build something great, you have to sacrifice. And so intensity is huge.
But if the love's there for it, you lean into it.
100%.
Yeah.
If the love is there for it.
So 100%. how do you get your employees to love it?
I think it's easier now because there's a brand around it and people feel the energy and the passion and they know the brand.
And where it's going.
Yeah. And, you have Steven Bartlett involved and there's kind of like those elements that people know about the brand and there's something there. At the beginning, it's basically us pitching employees.
And trying to convince.
Yeah, the first
Get them on
the
board.
first 5 hires are who's crazy enough to join us.
For sure.
The second batch is kind of like people that are less crazy. And
That
then
could go somewhere.
that could go
Yeah.
somewhere. You know, it's not an easy hiring market, so people haven't got ultimate flexibility. So I think they probably see us as an opportunity. And then now the hires going forward was so selective. Our hiring process has just completely changed, evolved in the last 3 years from please work for us to being really, really like, you know, strict on our requirements.
And your relationships internally with everyone, how is that?
As in within the team.
Yeah.
It's good. It's complicated, right? So
Yeah, of course.
you go from being 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, and it's like you're best friends because you spend 12 hours a day next to somebody and you know their life inside out and you're inherently connected to them. Like at my wedding, for example, we had 3 or 4 of the team, and
Front row.
yeah, it might not quite front row, but
Second.
second or third. Now, how can I invite 3 or 4 when there's 25 of us? Right?
Yeah,
It becomes inherently more complicated. You can't have favorites, even though you probably do. You can't show favoritism. You can't be too buddy because there needs to be regimen and structure. And actually, one of the I said at the beginning of this conversation around structure in the business, which is a massive milestone for me. Actually, bringing in structure to the business and having department heads means that I don't have to have, you know, too much concern about my interactions with every single person.
But then I guess you're giving a lot of trust to those department heads.
100%. And that's why they have to be perfect.
And how long have they been there before you give them that trust? Is it fresh hires or?
Depends. So our team is very young. So we've hired in a couple of department heads, and then some people have evolved into department heads. So like James, who kind of runs our operations, he is 24, I think, 24, 25. He has a team of 3 underneath him, and
That's awesome.
he's a killer.
Yeah,
He's awesome. He earned that responsibility. Shani, first hire, has a team of, I think, 5 or 6, growing into like 13 this year. She earned that responsibility. Obviously, she was the first employee, but whereas Kelly, who just came in as head of marketing, she came in as head of marketing, but she had the experience from her previous roles. She's an absolute killer. She's insane. And she didn't have to earn it because she had that on her resume and in her interviews, and we believe in her. So, and then head of finance, I think it's technically me. I earned it.
You earned it.
Although I'm not sure
Really?
I know what I'm doing, but yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Gosh.
So it's a combination, earning it and also hiring the right people now.
I was most interested by the name. I was fascinated by the name. Personally, was trying to find a product that was a peaceful drinks product, not some crazy energy drink that brings up your heart level and you get anxious and whatever. So PerfectTed was that perfect fit for that.
Good.
Yeah, and I saw lots on social media. I thought your campaign was awesome. The embodiment of the green. How did you get to that?
The whole green thing is an interesting one because we didn't go out and design. Well, firstly, we had no marketing budget. So, and we still don't have a massive marketing budget. Everything's been organic.
Yeah.
Even our partnership with Steven is organic in some sense because he's an investor in the business. But we just were like, let's just wear green. We spoke to somebody, Al Barrett, who's
just wear green.
Let's just wear a lot of green. Like if you've
become
seen Marissa's
green.
closet, it's literally
Just green.
But she's kept all the old stuff as well, which means there's no space in the house. She's kept all the blacks and the whites
Is your
and the
house
greys.
designed green? Do you have an interior design that's green?
No, but the new office will be very green. Our current office is very green. Everything in the business is green. Like the crazy thing is people wear green. Like if I go in the office today, everyone was wearing, like I was with a...
It's like a uniform.
It is, but it's not a requirement at all.
You
I've
just
never
do
said
it.
to anyone like you have to wear green, and everyone wears green. It's wild. So I think people have just like embodied it and feel it. And it's kind of one of those things I think that came out of not having a marketing budget and having to just pick something and go with it, but also just a natural evolution of, that's probably spearheaded by Marissa because she is like the queen of green. She's always in green.
Was she in green prior to PerfectTed?
Not as much. I'm sure she had
she's
some
just-
green garments, but like it's out of control. It's beyond. Like her AirPods are green, her shoes are green, everything is green.
She's very aligned with the color.
She is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an excuse for her to go shopping, but she's very aligned with green. And then on your point around like energy drinks, one of the reasons we started the energy drink was because Marissa and us as working professionals didn't find that there was an energy drink out there that aligned with us. Everything was hyper masculine. As you kind of just mentioned, like Red Bull, Monster, etc. They're very aggressive. So what you just said is kind of spot on with why we started the brand.
It's very aggressive, and it's also not an inspiring product, in my opinion. I think PerfectTed's an inspiring product because of what the messages it gives out, of the positivity, of the energy. It does feel personal. The color, it's a natural color.
Yeah,
that's a nice stimulant, and through it being matcha, the slow release as opposed to the intense drop.
Yeah,
it's a much nicer product to have daily than something like Red Bull.
Agreed.
And then also, if you look at something like Red Bull, you have vodka Red Bulls. Red Bulls associated with going out, with partying.
Yeah.
PerfectTed doesn't have that association, and I guess you can be selective with how you make that association and where you want it to be, what you want it to be tied to.
I think it's more tied to health, like healthy living and Pilates than it is clubbing. But I have a hard question for you.
Go on.
Because you've been asking me hard questions. What don't we do good? What don't we do good in our business? What could we do better? Is probably a better way of framing it. I think you asked me earlier about.
This is personal. I don't like bubble writing. I never have. That's totally aesthetic.
Fair enough.
In terms of like the thick.
If that's the problem, I'm cool with that. Then we're doing something right.
I also think, do you think you could spread who you appeal to? Mothers, fathers, adults. I don't know what it's like with children, obviously. Probably want to stay away from that.
Yeah, avoid it.
But how could this be associated with busy mums and busy dads? How could you push that there? I think that would work really well. I think mums could love this sort of thing.
Mums do love it.
I'm sure they love it.
It's quite so. Mums is quite a niche that's quite hard to penetrate.
Okay, why is that? I guess it's
they
everything
live on
that's
Facebook
associated,
as well.
Right?
So we got to do better on our Facebook marketing, but also they're very community driven, and it's way easier to tap into millennial Gen Z type marketing. Whereas actually, mums and dads have deeper pockets ultimately, and they're actually the ones that are influencing oftentimes like their teenage children. But so many mums buy the drinks or buy matcha for their teenage sons and daughters
As
for
a
university.
supplement.
As for university or for their A levels when they're studying. We've seen so many parents come to Marissa really, and say, your story of ADHD and anxiety and how you've overcome it has
really
been
resonates.
so impactful for my child. So it is a massive community that we want to tap into. It's difficult. And also, mums and dads are the ones that go to supermarkets more than
they do the
they
shopping.
do the shopping.
They do the
right.
shopping.
So it is 100% a market that we're very active in, but it's for a fast moving consumer goods business that is meant to be young and positive energy. It's very difficult to translate that also to parents who kind of are typically.
When I think of PerfectTed, I sort of categorize it in the same branch as when I think of protein powders.
Okay.
And when I think of supplements like that, in terms of the space that you can enter and the space that you're filling. So when I think of protein powders, you have some sort of more niche ones like Free Soul, which is female targeted and it's got the pink packaging and whatnot, but it doesn't have that gender neutrality. It doesn't have that the values that appeal to both sides. Whereas I think what PerfectTed is doing really well is that it's speaking to both.
Yeah.
And it's sort of found this in between where it can appeal to everyone. But I think, that makes sense with the mums. I think mums could just absolutely love this. Will you always keep it in a can?
As in going to different packaging?
Yep.
So our original packaging wasn't a can. Actually,
wasn't a can.
It was not. It was a Tetra Pak. So like when you buy milk or like a carton of milk.
So was it cardboard?
Essentially the same thing, yeah. But the reason, and we weren't launching an energy drink, we were launching a matcha latte in a can or in a Tetra Pak. And we were going to market, we were going to production, and we got a call from the production manager saying, by the way, we actually have to delay it 6 months because I think it was Oatly at the time, was expanding massively into the UK. And they're taking up all the production slots for the next 6 months. And so we were like, well, there goes our business. And so we had to reformulate, redesign, basically launch a brand new product in about 6 weeks. And the energy drinks were honestly the result of that. And I got a question before, which was fate forget what the two options were, but that is fate.
Not free will.
It's the fate was that early we're expanding. The free will was taking that as an opportunity.
Right.
And so will we go into other packaging? We're staying in cans, but the matcha powder is in a bunch of different formats. So we're in single serve strips, we're in kind of like pouches, we're in pods now. And
I saw the pods. Pods were cool.
Pods were really cool. Really
cool.
difficult to do. It was like a 2-year project, but they're sick.
Can you tell me what your next product release is, or is that secret?
No, it's not. I mean, yes and no. There's one big product we're working on, which is a secret. I'm under NDA. But NDAs really mean nothing, but I'm under NDA, which I can't talk about. But I did like one of the final tastings for it yesterday. It's amazing. But there are more flavored matcha pouches coming out. So new flavors, which are amazing. And then strips, so single serve strips we have. There are flavored ones coming out into a very big supermarket in the next few weeks. And then, don't want to give too much away. We're looking at a bunch of different things. Everything matcha related. It's infinite. What do you think we should be going into? What products do you want?
I don't know. I mean, again, I need to think about that. I don't know. I mean, I guess you get super creative with it, but I don't know what that would be. Okay, I'll get back to you.
Get back to me. I don't know. There's a million different ways you could do it.
Yeah.
Not infinite, but a million different ways.
Yeah.
And I think because we have the infrastructure to move really quickly, we can launch a product in literally a few weeks, and we typically have retailers lining
That's
up for it
insane.
to just like take it.
Is everything made in the UK? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Most of it, some is made in Europe. Like our pods are made in Europe. And the matcha comes from Japan, obviously. So
PerfectTed was on Dragon's Den.
yeah.
How did that happen?
How did that happen?
And why weren't you on it?
Why wasn't I? So I was working a full-time job at the time, working 2 jobs, just hustling. And I think during COVID, you could only have 2 people because of social distancing or whatever. Like even when they got a deal.
2 people pitching.
Yeah. Even when they got a deal, they couldn't hug. Like they always hug now. When deal done, hug it out.
Yeah.
No, I think it was like
a distant high five.
High five or a wave.
It's like a mirror.
Thank you for the deal. How did it come about? Actually, when we first launched, we launched on Kickstarter, which if you know Kickstarter, it's basically...
That's hilarious. You launched on Kickstarter.
We launched on Kickstarter. It's a place where you can... Actually, for people who are launching products, it's great. I recommend it because you don't have to give away any equity. You don't dilute. It's just basically pre-sales. And if you have a good marketing campaign around it, you can really build your social following early. So we launched on Kickstarter, and then Dragon's Den or BBC called us and said, you guys should come on.
They reached out to you?
They reached out to us, the producer. You should come.
That's cool.
They have people who literally are scanning the internet for the brands.
Right.
They reached out, they said, you should come on the show.
Yeah.
So for me and Teddy in particular, who are from the UK, Dragon's Den is like,
awesome.
It's like everything.
Yeah.
It's like you're sitting
It's like bread and butter.
Yeah, it's like, I think it comes out on Monday. It's like Monday evening, come back from school, you're like 14 and you're just like sitting on the sofa. It's like Dragon's Den.
Practicing your pitch since you were 14.
100%. I think Teddy once said to my dad, like, I'm going to be on Dragon's Den.
He just knew.
Maybe he just said that retroactively and it's just like part of his story, but I think he manifested it. And so Teddy and Marissa, we all applied for it and they asked for the details and the company, and we were very young at the time, so we really didn't have much information, but we had enough to apply. Didn't hear back. Or he didn't select us, didn't hear back, I forget. A year later, producer reaches out again. He goes, hey guys, I know you didn't come on last year, but there's a slot this year.
Yeah.
Can you just provide some information about the company, high level? We did. He goes, okay, there's a slot. And we said, when's the slot? It's a Thursday evening. He goes, yeah, it's on Monday. I think it was Thursday to Monday. We actually had 3-4 days to prepare. At this stage, we were a year later. There wasn't the same structure I spoke about at the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah.
It was still the 3, maybe 4 of us. Now 3 of us plus 1, plus Shani. And we were like, well, yeah, obviously we're going to go on the show, aren't we? And just figure it out. So we spent all weekend locked in a boardroom trying to work out what the hell a gross margin was. Like,
right.
Because everyone assumes that you know your numbers.
But like, what actually is it?
I was calling up my friends that were doing accountancy grad schemes, like, what is our cost of goods sold? Like, what actually goes into it? What actually is...
That's insane.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because also, I mean, by the way, margin can like be calculated any different way because depending on what you include. but we genuinely didn't know.
But
our
also just
numbers.
condensing it all
Yeah,
so
we
quickly.
we had zero of the software, but we hadn't allocated everything in the right place. We were just trying to build a
so you
business.
went into like turbo mode and you were like, okay, right,
just
we're figuring
figure it
this out.
And
Yeah.
before ChatGPT as well, we were just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they went on the TV show, they killed it, they crushed it. Marissa dropped out 3 times the day before. And Teddy calls me and she's calling me crying. I was in Spain actually for work. Teddy's calling me crying, saying Marissa's not coming on. She's pissing me off because she's nervous and anxious. I'm like, just go on. Just don't go on then. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
And then Marissa's like, I want to go on the show, but I don't. I'm nervous and I'm anxious and I'm trying to be a supportive husband. Actually, we weren't married at the time, but supportive partner. And I'm trying to also amp Teddy up so he can feel good about. Anyway, she ended up doing it and they crushed it and the experience was amazing. But
did you get all offers?
Offers from all the dragons.
That's insane.
And then what happens off the air is very different to actually what happens.
I was going to say, because on air, it's like what, 15 minutes?
14, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and how long's the actual pitch?
They were in there for an hour and a half getting grilled.
God, yeah.
I had my moment. I had my moment of potential fame. So when they came out of the den, the producer said, who do you want to call? Like, they'll video you FaceTiming someone. They're like, obviously, we'll call Levi. So I'm speaking at an event and my Apple Watch is going crazy. I'm like, oh my God, they're calling me. Like, obviously something's happened. I knew they were obviously on that day, but I couldn't answer. I was literally speaking. And so I didn't answer. And now I lost my shot. That was it. Anyway, off-air post-deal is obviously a whole negotiation that ensues. I think about 20% of Dragon's Den deals actually go through. Most of them don't.
Right. Okay.
So the deal with Steven, we did a deal on the show with Peter and Steven.
Who did you go with?
Peter Jones and Steven Bartlett.
Steven. Yeah.
And it ended up only doing a deal with Steven Bartlett in the end.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, it kind of just has evolved from there. And our relationship with Steven ever since has gone way beyond Dragon's Den. At first, you're just like a Dragon's Den deal. And then Steven calls us up 4 months after it airs and says, hey guys, I want to double down. I want to invest in my fund. I want to get more involved. I want to become, I think he said I want to become a co-founder. But he wants to become really, really involved in the brand, which to us, we're just like, what the hell? It all happened so quickly. And just from, I mean, talk about manifestation.
Yeah.
Marissa literally sent me and Teddy a picture of Steven Bartlett interviewing someone on his podcast with our cans on his desk. I swear there's a photo of it 3-4 years ago, being like, let's manifest it, let's manifest it.
Yeah.
And obviously we're a sponsor now of the show. And Steven's very involved in the business and I'm having dinner with his team tonight. We're very involved with him. And so it moved very quickly.
Why do you think, what is it about PerfectTed that has been so appealing to him?
I think he authentically uses it. Him and his girlfriend, and his team. There's a massive PerfectTed fridge in his office, like one you'd see in a supermarket. And honestly, they have a subscription. It runs out within like a week. We need to up that subscription.
He just absolutely loves the product.
They love the product. They love being part of the journey. And I think also he sees probably himself in us as a team. Right. He's built things as he's 32, 33. He's a young founder. And I think he sees what we're doing as kind of in line with what he's done throughout his career.
In line with his values.
There's just, the energy's good. It works.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was Dragon's Den. And then we are working on our own TV show now.
What is the TV show? Can you give me a snippet or?
Can't give you the name, even though I said it before.
What channel is it going to be on?
It's not on a channel yet. We've just finished the trailer, which I'll show you afterwards. We're working on a pilot right now. We have a production company working on it. They approached us and they said this would be a great idea. And if I could pitch it to you, it's basically the Kardashians / Selling Sunset.
So it's reality.
Yeah, it's reality.
That is going to be awesome. So it's like day in the life of a founder.
It's more just like, what are these nutters doing? It's like,
are they going to come to your office?
Office, house, family, everything. So
awesome.
Our third hire was a full-time videographer. Mm-hmm. So we filmed have you seen the Kanye West documentary, for example?
No, I haven't.
Or like kind of these documentaries that are now like Robbie Williams one, for example. It's easy when like they're super famous. They've had 30, 40 year careers. In our 3 years, we filmed not every single minute, but most key moments.
You've like documented it.
Yeah, it's like camera in office, videographer at all times. We're trying a new product last night. Cameras are rolling at all times. So we have so much footage, like hours and hours, so much so that I think we have like 3 different, it's on a hard drive, it's on like Google Drive, it's on Dropbox. Like there's so much footage. Mm-hmm. And so in some sense, the production company has an easy job because they've got all this footage historically for a pilot, as well as footage they filmed. but also it's an impossible job because there's so much to go through. So there's a lot there.
But will they do live filming as well? Like,
Yeah,
like day to day, not just sort of past content that you have?
As in the production company?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it gets commissioned in Netflix or Amazon, which would be great.
That is so
Take it.
exciting.
If they were to take it, for example, if they don't take it, it'd be pretty embarrassing. If we were to get on like a big network or a big streamer, yeah, obviously there'd be full-time cameras.
And what's the goal with this? What's the move? Promotion or anything?
Yeah, it's a
that?
brand play.
Yeah.
I think if you look at like the Kardashians as a business model, for example, like Kim has Skims and a bunch of other different business lines. I think this is a way of promoting authentically, organically, PerfectTed through our own personal brands. And we think about personal brand a lot, so whether it's TV show or our own LinkedIn or even the team, like EGC is massive for us. So as many outlets as we can for having the team talk about it, having PR, TV, social media talking about the brand. Any outlet is a good outlet. Any press is good press to some degree. Actually, no, you know what? I believe any press is good press.
Okay, I have one more question.
Yeah.
What will be on your mind tomorrow?
What will be on my mind tomorrow? Probably my wife again, because I'm not with her. But that's a bit soppy and sad.
No, it's not soppy and sad.
I'm speaking
I like it.
at an event tomorrow, so that's on my mind. I think on my mind this week is my first week back in the office. Obviously, as a founder, I've been working remotely or just working. We don't stop. It's just weekends, everything, every day. First week back in the office, I think on my mind tomorrow and this week generally is just like getting the team fired up for this year. This year is going to be defining for the business, defining for a lot of people's careers, but also it's kind of all or nothing, I think.
Have you felt that every year has been defining for the business though?
It has, but I feel like we have something to lose now.
Right.
And something to gain.
So do you think the risk gets bigger with every day?
Risk gets bigger, opportunity gets bigger. I just think this year is going to be amazing. Yeah. If we execute on our plans, I think it's just going to be the best. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. Like it's going to be a slog and tears and laughter and people coming, people going and just like drama, which is why TV is good for us. But it will be
perfect.
Amazing. I think we'll look back in 12 months time and be like, shit, 2025 was real.
So how is the extended family involved? You have more. Yeah. How many brothers are you?
So we're 4 boys. So myself and Teddy the middle.
Your poor mother.
Yeah, poor mum. I don't know. I think she always wanted boys, like not girls. Yeah. She's a boy mum. My older brother works.
Does she drink your matcha?
She's up. I think she's probably propping the business
Number
up.
1 supporter.
Yeah, I think she's the one going to Tesco buying it.
She's putting up those numbers.
So she's a machine, my mum. My dad too, but my mum's more involved in the business. My dad is like a mentor to us in business.
Was she always involved in the business? Or?
By virtue of the fact that like when we were very early on, we had to deliver like a bag of matcha to somewhere and she'd be like, oh, I'll drop it off. Or, you know, when we first launched Shopify, she would kind of help respond to customers. Where's my delivery? She would pick it up. And now the business obviously scaled massively and our online business is significant. It's not the biggest part of our business, but my mum runs all customer service. So anytime you email hello@perfectted.com,
it's going to mama.
It's going to Tanya. And honestly, she does the best job because she actually cares.
Yeah.
We've chosen not to automate a lot of our customer service.
So it's an authentic reply.
It's her behind a laptop. She got a new laptop for Christmas.
Will she be on the TV show?
Yeah,
I hope she is.
She's front and center.
She has to take center stage.
She's honestly, she's great TV. She is.
Is she?
She's mad. She's amazing, and she is an amazing character, but also like an amazing mum, obviously. But she is such a machine. She's on that laptop 24/7, responding to customers, and they love it. The number of messages we get saying, "You have had the best customer service. Thank you." She knows every customer by name, and she'll stress me out. She'll say,
"Does she have a spreadsheet? Does she?"
She has. We're getting her onto AI as well. She's got Copilot connected to her laptop, and she uses ChatGPT to like.
That's awesome.
But she's. I put a LinkedIn post out. She's reinventing herself. She left.
She's
school,
rebranding.
She's rebranding. She left school at 17 or 18. She's a genius, but she didn't have the opportunities to go to university, and she started working straight out of school in a hairdresser, like sweeping floors. Then she married my dad. She became a full-time kind of house mom, which is for 4 boys, like job. Beyond 2, 3 full-time jobs. And she never had the opportunities to kind of pursue a career because she was too busy raising us.
Yeah.
And now she's kind of an empty nester because my youngest brother's gone to university and she's got this opportunity to kind of be involved in the business
and use her talents.
she's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel that's quite a common story with a lot of mums. There's a lot of pressure on this 24-hour job of being a mother,
100%.
especially having four boys.
Yeah.
Four, I imagine, very active, creative boys.
Don't know about creative, but active for sure.
And,
Broken
yeah.
bones, a lot of broken bones.
A lot of broken bones. And then only later in life is sort of go through this process of refinding your talents and using those talents that's not attached with your children and raising children.
Yeah. Her identity has been her family for the last 30-something years. And now she has this kind of new identity. Like, she DMs like Steven on his stories. And she actually doesn't know what she's doing. Her Instagram usage needs to improve. And we've just let her into the WhatsApp group chat.
You've only just let her in?
She posted something yesterday.
What do you mean you've just let her in?
Well, she's on Teams, but the WhatsApp chat, she just sends stuff that just shouldn't be on that WhatsApp chat. Like, she sent
send reels?
She sent something that I honestly, this is bad. I had to delete it from the group chat. Just because I was like, Mum, what are you sending that for? She'll send things like a photo of her and her dog, like on the sofa with a laptop being like, working from home today. And I'm like, Mom, like, we're in the middle of like talking about something really serious. Like, can you stop sending photos of just you and the dog?
No, I think that's nice. I think that's positive energy.
She sent something that was like really random, like something that no one in the team would understand. She was at the Palladium for the pantomime, and she saw something with a PerfectTed bag. And she took a photo of it, and then she wrote a long message right after it, like referencing like this like Palladium reference that no one in our generation would understand. And I was like, Mom, like, what are you saying? Like, no one gets it.
Well, I think she's trying to educate. I
think so, maybe, but I had to veto it. But she's very involved in the brand. She is the lifeblood of it. She's in the office, I think, 3 days a week. And she's
so this is a proper family-run business.
Proper family-run, yeah.
Well, I mean, what are your kids going to look like? You and Marissa? They're going to come out with green eyes.
I think we have 5. We were talking about this the other day in our planning. It's our planning year. Yeah. 4 to 5 years, I think, kids. But like, we have no immediate plans. And my friends are starting to have kids right now, so it's kind of like,
yeah, of course,
the pressure's on. But no, our baby is PerfectTed.
They're just going to be like running around with the energy.
Yeah, they'll be nuts.
They'll be absolutely mental.
But yes, that's my mum. She's very involved in the business, and my older brother works at Facebook, so he has got us out of trouble a couple of times when someone tried to hack our Facebook or Instagram. So it's good to have someone. Have someone at Facebook.
And your dad?
My dad is retired, but he was in real estate or property, so not in food or beverage.
And are you born and raised in London?
Born and raised in London, but he's very creative, and he's like the most amazing. He's like an old school businessman. So his negotiation skills are like second to none. They're just unbelievable. So when we were negotiating with Steven, for example, we'd be like,
Dad got involved.
We'd be like, shit, the deal's dead. Or, oh my God, Steven said this. Like, what does that mean? And he was just like, to a T, helped us. So he's been such an amazing mentor and business advisor. And the two of them, Mum and Dad, amazing.
Do you feel their support has really pushed forward the business?
100%. Because also they take some of our life pressures off us. I mean, Teddy just moved home, which is quite embarrassing. We kicked him out. When we got married, we kicked him out.
Bye.
So he's moving out again.
Time to leave.
Time to leave. He said he's moving out of home, but we'll see. It's nice to have his laundry done and stuff like that. And have dinner cooked. But no, they take life pressure.
You just roasted Teddy. Sorry,
that's
Teddy.
fine. If
you can come on here and give your own.
He'll roast me. It's fine. He stands his ground.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a sort of like sparring match between the two of you. Does that happen ever? Or
does it? Yeah, it happens every day. I mean, if you could imagine our house, 4 boys, like a lot of testosterone, and my mum, who by the way is like the queen of banter, she just rips into all of us. And my dad, who just is usually on the receiving end of it. It is mayhem. Like, we have dinner every Friday night together, and sometimes Marissa can't come because she just like, I need like the energy's too much. Like, I need the Friday to myself. But it's just, we rip each other, pranks in the office, banter. It's madness. But that's the fun of running.
I think it's going to make great content. I can't wait to see it.
I'll show you the trailer afterwards.
Will you?
Yeah. It's good stuff. Netflix, Amazon, pick it up. Sky, someone. We'll see. It'll be done in the next few weeks. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Levi. Thank you so much. This is awesome.